Hello everybody, I'm Conquering History Games, and welcome to part 4 of my French Republic campaign here in Hearts of Iron 4 Kaiserreich. So, where were we? Oh yes, the Olima. Or did I already read this? Promoting Islamic reform, hoping to bring Islam in Algeria to a pure original form, away from superstitions fostered by the marabouts and the more mystical approach of the Sufis. Many schools have been created teaching grammar, mathematics, and religion to children. Theology, philosophy is history, Islamic and French law. One of the goals of this association is to foster Islamic identity of Algeria, unite the people beyond the divide between the Berbers and coastal Araphone Algerians. 2 native groups are seeking the support of the ulema, the Action Algérienne of Abbas, and the Etiole North Africa of Messali Hajj, syndicalist-aligned group. The association is not sided with either, skeptical of both the sincerity of the AF's promises to autonomy and the anti-clerical socialism advocated by the communards. Either way, they're probably trouble. There's a lot of detail in this picture, too. Hey, look, yeah. Dang, I kind of want to see a blown-up version of this picture. Okay, so we got to deal now with the Republican remnants. At last we have taken down the Republic, and work to get rid of her pernicious influence on our great nation is now underway. However, there are still some who believe that Guise is something worth defending. As long as there are remnants of Republican influence, we cannot truly get to work to reform France. As such, a purge of the French body is necessary. Finishing these decisions will remove the Republican remnants idea and give you another idea depending on your choices. I don't remember if I put this in a guide or not. Actually, I think I was working on a National France guide and I didn't finish it because I was doing a million other projects. But basically, here's what we're going to be doing. The order, terror will be the order of the day, but it's not terror because we're killing the French Republicans. Let me tell you something. I've been there's this kind of common theme that runs through almost all French revolutionary histories, where it's like, oh, the terror is bad. Unless it's terror killing the people that you don't like. You meaning the author. So, if you don't like Robespierre, it's just, oh, the bad terror, how could he do this? But then as soon as the Jacobins start getting guillotined, it's just, ha ha, die, trash! And vice versa, of course. Whether you're a Baboufist or a Hébertist or a Robespierrean or a Girardon or a Dantonist or whatever, it's only bad when you're, oh no, my special boy is being guillotined. They're evil. But then it's just, getting what you fucking deserve when it's the people you don't like getting guillotined. So, having said that, we are going to go hard on this. If I'm remembering correctly, and I sure hope that I am, the way that this basically works is you have 3 possible levels, so to speak, of purging the remnant. So like right now, dealing with a remnant, it's 100% bad all the time, but because you're just losing daily political power, gain, and stability. But if you do like a light purge, where it's hardly anything at all, you're going to lose political power when you're done, but you're going to get a lot of bonuses to different things. If I remember correctly, kind of going the middle route is objectively the best, like if you just add up the percentages that you gain and lose. But we're just going to go, for role-playing purposes, on a total purge, so that's going to actually hurt us in a few different ways. But the good news is that that's... God, I hope I'm remembering this right. That's going to give us the most daily political power gain, and we're going to end up needing a lot of it over the course of this game. Let's just wait a few days, though, so we can begin the Trans-Saharan Construction Phase 3, and then we'll start doing all this. So I'm not sure I could afford to wait a couple days. What's it going to cost? 20 and 25? Yeah, we don't really have this. We don't have what's needed. We can only do one or the other. Queen of the Battlefield, where everything is chaos. Mustafa Kemal seizes power. Oh man, man, this actually really sucks. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to wait a couple of days, I think. Although, that'll give us a third of a point a day. With those Republican remnants. Oh, Jack Reed. No! The syndicalists are taking over! Alright, there's resentment. There's a deep divide between the merchants and the bourgeois. Composed of Frenchmen, but also of black Evolets with the French citizenship. Why are the ones in Dakar so rich, yet we struggle to live correctly? Yeah, I'm talking about Dakar, which is right here. Let's all hope that doesn't breed syndicalism. Oh, we just lost political power, son of a bitch. Okay. I should have waited. I screwed that up. I kind of want to just load the autosave, because that was a stupid move. You know what? That's exactly what we're going to do. I'll be right back. Okay, we're right back here on November 1st. Let's get back to it. Oh yeah, why is it saying deploy units? Oh right, yeah, we're just trying to knock a lot of these out. Just however many we can for right now. Okay, let's try this again, shall we? You know what, maybe I should just do this. Yeah, you know what, there's no reason to wait. We'll take this first one, and then we'll save up for the Phase 3 thing. So first thing, public humiliation of Republicans. For minor offenders such as... Well, let's just read this. Camelot's knocking on the door of prominent Republican intellectuals, journalists, and public personalities and taking them to public square, sometimes dragging them, sometimes at good point. These men then getting on their knees to renounce their traitorous beliefs, apologizing to the masses in well-rehearsed public apologies, sometimes manhandled either by the actionsmen or the crowd, and then sent on their way back home to obscurity, knowing full well their writing, their speeches will never be heard again by the people, but relieved they did not end like the last of the paraders, blown to pieces by the Democrates' cannons. This has become a common sight, and the crowd seems ever more eager to pin all their troubles on these traitors, sometimes more bloodthirsty than the most fanatic of the Camelots de Roy, and having to be held back from tearing them apart. The crowd is right. We could even deliver the right targets to them. Yeah, so we're going to always take that third choice, I think. So now... Oh, shoot. Oh, that's right. It's not because of the Phase 2. It's the... Okay. How many days is this going to take? I'm going to have to, I think, wait until Queen of the Battlefield's done and then not do anything for a couple of days. So let that go through, and then we wait. Rise and then Sunni activity in Chad. So now we're getting an extra point a day. This is going to take 9 days. We just got to get to 25. So much juggling to be done. Okay. Yeah, the Republican remnants is freaking vicious. So begin Phase 3. That's going to give me a slightly, just a tiny bit more there. The ANI wins the Italian elections. Italo Balbo is in charge now. Okay, and now we'll take that loss. Okay. Next, let's keep heading towards that research slot. Tactical Studies Center. Ooh, that's going to give me a land doctrine research bonus. Okay, no, it's going to go where I want it, though. Yeah, because we're going to get 100 here, going to get 100 here. Yeah, we're going to be able to start heading down to Battle of Encirclement pretty fast. So Tactical Studies Center, let's go. Whoa, l'antique, l'enquête. The investigations have reached the desk of Lieutenant General of the Kingdom of Charles de Gaulle. With monetary support from Moereich to helping his escape to encouraging the recent attempted coup, the results are incredibly damning for many among the old Republican establishment, and thousands are implicated, including many of the army, the secret services, and the administration. While they will, of course, be promptly dealt with, some within the Action Française taking advantage of this crisis to finally once and all cleanse the French body from the stain of republicanism and take down the parasitic groups, dragging France down in one fell swoop. Let's see, purge them all. They're all guilty of something or another anyway. By the way, even if it was just all bad stuff that was going to happen off of... I need to get my production efficiency cap up. Off of the... Wait. Yeah, if it was all bad that was coming off of the total Republican purge for role-playing reasons, I probably would just do it anyway. Le Secret. Here we go. More than 110 years since there was last a royal coronation. Really? Oh, yeah, because I don't think Louis-Phillipe was coronated. He was made king, but I don't think he ever actually did an official coronation. France finally has a king once again. The ceremony was carefully organized to follow as closely as possible the millennium-old protocol, despite taking place in the Saint-Philippe Church of Algiers instead of the traditional coronation of which current circumstances would make difficult to organize. Yeah, that's putting it lightly. Much of the necessary ceremonial items, like the swords joyeux, said to have been the sword of Charlemagne, as well as the holy ampulla, glass vial holding anointing oil, said to have been given by the Holy Spirit for the baptism of Clovis, King of Franks, had been evacuated during the retreat from the mainland, and new regalia was crafted by skilled artisans, particularly an ornate crown. After swearing oaths on the scripture to defend the church, maintain peace, fight injustice, be merciful and just, as well as fight heresy, Jean d'Orléans was anointed in 9 spots in the shape of the cross with holy oil by the Archbishop of Algiers, then was draped in a blue cloak sprinkled with gold fleur-de-lis, giving the scepter and the hand of justice, and finally crowned. Peers of the reborn kingdom swore fealty to His Majesty, then a mass was said. This done, the king and the royal family headed out for their new residence, the former presidential palace in the heights of Algiers, cheered on the whole way there by a numerous crowd, public celebrations and banquets taking place well into the late hours of the night. Some important details were altered in the ceremony, however. The king did not swear the traditional oath to fight infidels and was instead given by the Mufti of Algiers a traditional fleisa sword representing his new status of Hamyal Salam, or Protector of Islam. Among the peers swearing fealty to His Majesty were numerous Arab, Berber, or African chiefs in their traditional costumes, symbol of a new era of French rule. The Republic is truly dead. Long live the kingdom. So we're going to get 100 political power out of the gate, which is, that's nice. Jean III will become the leader for the authoritarian Democrats, the paternal autocrats, and the national populace. So that's going to give us 10% stability and daily political power gain of 0.15. We'll get rid of all head of government ideas, all economic ministers, and we're going to get Charles de Gaulle as our head of government, and Charles Maurras will be our national philosopher, which will also help a little bit with our daily political power game. And also helps with rooting out resistance. So, lots of good stuff here. And you know what? I actually do want to kind of stop and talk about who the Duc d'Orléans is. And I suppose I actually just should. So the Duc de... Okay, what you basically have to do is the Duc d'Orléans, who is who this guy was here. Oh, wait, no, there's a little bio here anyway, so we'll just read this. Thank you, Kaiser Reich team, for supplying these. So who is this guy who we just made king? Born in 1874, which was actually before I think it was in 1875 where that constitution was made in France. So he's older he's outlived that republic. That republic could suck it. That republic being the third one. Wait. Yeah, the third republic. Right? Or was that the fourth one? Oh, God. No, yeah, it's the Third Republic. Born in 1874, Jean d'Orléans was for long a picture of aristocratic aloofness. He was, after all, far down the line of succession of the House of France. Barred from service in the French army, he joined the Danish army for some time, as the King Valdemar was his brother-in-law, before eventually settling in Morocco, hoping to promote French interests in the region. The Great War would, however, transform him. Once again barred from joining the armies of the Republic, he joined the medical service of the Red Cross, transforming his French chateau into a hospital and personally taking care of the wounded. Though with initially little interest in politics, the defeat and breakout of the revolution would further convince him of the need for deep reform, bringing him closer to the Action Française. In 1924, following the death of his cousin Philippe d'Orléans without an heir, he was acclaimed by royalists as the rightful pretender to the throne of France in exile in now German Morocco. He would continue the cooperation with the integralists started by his predecessors. Royalist efforts were now entirely concentrated around the Action Française, particularly as the Catholic hierarchy went past their issues with the movement, deeply shocked by the anti-clerical violence of the syndicalist revolution. In 1933, he issued a manifesto calling for a royal government to save France instead of a government of parties, a clear shot at Pétain's regime. This would further enhance his political profile in a France in exile where the prestige of the Republic was at its lowest and the Marshal's junta was rapidly losing support. With the triumph of Charles de Gaulle against democratic and reformist forces, few were surprised that the new head of state called for a restoration of the monarchy. King Jean III now leads France as it struggles to purge the remnants of the Republic from the nation and prepares her, the eldest daughter of the Church, to the holiest of struggles. It's probably supposed to say for the holiest of struggles. A crusade to reconquer the metropole from the Reds. Metropole being the term for continental France, by the way. You usually hear that term when you're reading, like, colonial histories. And we're hiding out in colony now, so it kind of makes sense. You know, so, like, if you're reading about the Haitian Revolution, they refer to news from Metropole and stuff, the Metropole. Okay, so we got 100 political power. It's not quite enough for me to do everything here, but we can get pretty damn close. So let's at least do 4 of them. Let's just knock them out. Let's see, how much is daily? We're getting half a political power point daily. We need 18 more. So that's going to take 36 days. Not quite long enough. How long is this going to take? This could take 30 days. So when this is done, we need to not take anything. So I want to get this all done here as quickly as possible. So, arrest the politicians. The left, the radicals, the moderates were all prime suspects. From municipal councillors to members of parliament, they had headed the Guise for decades, failing France at every turn. I'm probably pronouncing all this shit wrong, by the way. Always pushing further for the destruction of the church, fanning the flames of socialism with their incompetence and demagogic promises. Those not already awaiting trial were arrested, interrogated, sometimes made to give up names of fellow traitors, sometimes forced to confess to their treason. Special tribunals were created with a crowd gathering in every town to see those who had betrayed them for so long get what was long coming. At last, the paix légale was tumbling. Trials were often somewhat rushed, but most were given time to prepare their defense with proper legal assistance provided if they could not afford one. Most were condemned to a ban from holding public office, some to prison sentences, and few to the death penalty. While this is satisfactory for the government, some more radical voices advocate for more expeditive procedures to deal with such filth. This is a counter-revolution, not a tea party. Arrange firing squads. See, I really like that they implement this revolutionary language and putting it down, because I think that the writers are trying to, I don't know, maybe I'm just reading too much into it, but it's like, because of what I'm just saying, I've been noticing there's so many authors that do that it's just like, no, it's the terror of being the order of the day is cool when it's my politics doing it. Robespierre had it coming, or Danton had it coming. If I like the persons who were executing them. What do I want to do last? I think we'll do the military last, because I think this is where I think de Gaulle asks us not to purge the military, but he does not run the government anymore. I do. Having said that, there's de Gaulle down there. So yeah, we'll purge the military last for fun. On the fateful day of the last parade, some police officers tasked with keeping order joined the protesters as the day turned bloody. Might be indicative of deeper rot. Here come the cops! As expected, it didn't take long for our investigations to find problematic elements within the police force, with a few cases of what appears to be revolutionary cells forming up. Thankfully, they were caught in time, and these policemen were persuaded by fellow officers, intelligence service, and Camelots who happened to assist questioning sessions to give up any co-conspirators who have slipped through the cracks. Some who had survived the last parade were particularly strongly advised to indicate whether their You know what? I just had an idea. We're going to cancel this focus. To give up any co-conspirators that may have slipped through the cracks. Some who had survived the last parade were particularly strongly advised to indicate whether their treason on that fateful day was spontaneous or planified. Planified. For good measure, officers with known sympathies for Moereich and the democratic cause were interrogated, with sanctions being envisaged for them as well. Okay. So we can replace them. They won't be missed if the guillotine takes care of them. Yeah, see, there you go. So we're not taking a focus here for a little bit so that we could add up that extra political power and quickly just be done with all of this. So there's a place we haven't looked for potential traitors. The Demiju Baru, our intelligence office, between Moereich's escape and the Democratic camp, seemingly always knowing our next move. We know there is a mole, but so far haven't been able to figure out who it is. We'll have to act with utmost secrecy to finally trap the source of our woes. Yeah. That'll do it. So, the investigation revealed a worrying state of affairs. The mole was found relatively quickly by men personally loyal to de Gaulle, and double agents have been extracting a trove of information from him. It seems that a large part of the Bureau was sympathetic to Moereich, and though they have dutifully helped us purge other elements of society, they have also carefully hidden proof that some of them were in contact with our enemies, even going as far as destroying seized evidence. We must, however, tread carefully. These are all incredibly talented men, and our investigation seems to show that they acted more by loyalty to each other than any deep ideological commitment. The Rooster, personally close to some of the men of the Bureau, seems to think that simply court-circuiting the mole, feeding him inaccurate information for him to share to planted contacts, and letting the Bureau remain intact will be sufficient. After all, there are few open Republicans left. Sacrificing valuable assets to fight shadows seems like a waste. Others argue that the Bureau cannot be trusted, and that as such it should be disbanded and replaced with some of the less trustworthy members assigned to posts far in the Saharan desert. Finally, simply getting rid of all of them might be the easiest choice. A thorough purge is necessary. Can't be taking chances. Not in the least. Okay. So yeah, we now are going to just wait a few days so we can queue up the political power here. Come on. Yeah, because it's almost half a political power point a day we're losing. It's no bueno. All right, there we go. For the Lord knows who are his own. Hold on, I love whenever I see this the phrase "trial of the century." I remember one of my favorite Mike Duncan lines. He's the podcaster who does like histories of the revolutions and the history of Rome and a lot of good stuff. He has this line where he goes, "It was one of those trial of the century events that happen every few years." Okay. It is the trial of the century every day, and the audiences are assembled on radio for the entire nation to listen to, while many in Algiers assemble outside the courthouse. Camelots have been targeting the family and friends of those on trial, as well as more generally all and any open Republicans. Wanting to make those responsible for France's suffering pay. Denouncing liberals as Moereich sympathizers. The patriot can move forward by reforming herself following our king's guidance, and then by setting her sights on the metropole, still reeling under communard oppression. Hopefully with this, the Republican nightmare will be truly over. So we're just purging everybody that's not a national populace, basically. Time to purge the military. The military, the supposed great moot, made far too much noise in recent months. Though some of our men were among the early paradiers, it's sadly clear that some men were eager supporters of Moereich. It seems much of the army stood with Moereich in his revendication against the marshal's more fanciful use of information against perceived traitors. Even men thought close to the Action Française. Most were in the end much less sympathetic to the democratic cause than one could have feared, or at least that is what much of those interrogated by Marshal Court assure us, perhaps cowed by Moereich's untimely fate. In any case, although some will have to be shot at the very least to set an example, most of the men interrogated could be reintegrated within the ranks without much penalty. The core of Moereich's clique was blown apart along with their leader, and unified opposition from the armed forces seems unlikely. Now the firing squad awaits them. And so that's it. So in 50 days, we'll be ready to go. Now we can get working on focuses again. And let's also get working on this, or do I want to come over here to the industry? You know what, industry's pretty good to have. Leave the IEDC. Why would we ever do that? Okay. And we're still in 1936. It's a packed early year for the Kingdom of France. But that is, in fact, what we are, the Kingdom of France. So in the next episode, we will be changing the titles of the videos. Oh, because we are now the Kingdom of France. We still got resistance to occupation going on, rather annoyingly. Where's the worst of it? Yeah, some bad up here. I think T. Lawrence, he's fine. Let's put him over here. Yeah. See, now we're getting the bonus because of Charles Marat, so we're at 160% resistance fighting. Okay, so let's take a little moment here to talk about the House of Orleans. So the House of Orleans is one of the spin-offs of the House of Bourbon, which is itself a spin-off of the Cadets. But, you know, they could, the Capetians, I should say, but, you know, they all go back to the Capetians in the end. So the House of Orleans, though, was founded by Philip I, who was Louis XIII's son. So he was. That's actually not the person I should draw a comparison to. He was the Sun King's younger brother. And so the way things work is that the Orleans dukes, the Duc d'Orléans, were there to be next in the line of succession if something were to happen to the senior branch of the House of Bourbon, which were the ones that were directly descended from Louis XIV. So that never happened for a very long time, or at least I should say for the period from 1709 until the French Revolution kicked off in the late 1700s. Even though, you know, King Philip, not King Philip, King Louis, you know, King Louis XVI gets guillotined, then King Louis XVII dies of malnutrition or neglect or whatever you want to call it. Basically, the revolutionaries let him die. But they still would say, no, it's that branch of the family that is that are the legitimate kings of France. Until after the French Revolution, or maybe during the French Revolution, but basically after Napoleon is defeated, they put Louis XVIII in charge, and so the Bourbons still stay in charge of, or they're still the heads of the Kingdom of France, until 1830 and the July days come along, and they switch from one king to another, and the king they switched to was Louis-Philippe, who was seen as like a more constitutional monarchy-style friendly guy. And so Louis-Philippe is in charge until 1848, when the June Revolution happens, and that's a whole complicated thing that I'm not going to get into right now. But basically, Jean III is the great-grandson of Louis-Philippe, because you had Louis-Philippe, and then this is the branch that is seen as like the branch that that is the legitimate and quote-unquote legitimate heirs to the French throne, because you had Louis Philippe, and then it passed to his grandson Prince Philippe, and then that grandson's son was Prince Philippe as well, but then he died and he didn't have any kids, so then it went to Jean III, who was also a great-grandson of Louis Philippe, but via a different branch. So he was the cousin of the one before him. And the House d'Orléans is still around, actually, and it's probably going to be for a while, because the current count, who are royalists, and they do exist out there, they call him Jean IV, and he's got like 4 or 5 kids. So they're still around and probably going to be around for a while. But they're in charge now here. Republican victory in Brazil. Okay, Immaculate Conception, consecrated today in the presence of Jean III. First cathedral to be concentrated in the Sahel, taking inspiration from both traditional African building techniques and Romanesque architecture. It's a powerful symbol of the success of missionary work. We built a seminary, implemented industry. There's an important and outspoken part of the Administrative Council for more than a decade, a critique of the Algiers regime handling of the famine of the 1930s. Okay, the vicar dismissed claims that true power in Haute-Volta lies with him, presenting himself as nothing more than a humble missionary blessed with some success, caring for his flock. A living saint, that Thenevod. Alright, so we gotta start trading for some stuff. Let's take a look here at the stuff I'm building. Yeah, I just don't have much in the way of industry, but once we get that research improvement, research slot increase improvement thing, I think we can start coming down here and just working on a lot of different things, basically. Yeah, protective inequality, that's nice. We can get just some straight up political power there. Groussaud. Stroke first. We located his hideout, had it surrounded by competent officers. Let's see. Most of our agents lost the trace. We found the corpses of those who did not in the middle of the street. Groussaud made sure to leave no evidence in his hideout by setting it on fire before leaving, reducing everything but a single piece of paper to ash. Now we are left with nothing but a mere word, HOI4, and more questions than answers. We'll get him someday. Yeah, so we gotta come down here to get some good industry stuff. Like here, let's filter it by industry. Actually, where's the industry thing? Right here. Yeah, so over here is where we can get some decent stuff. Rise in Sensuni activity in Chad. Oh, let's take a look at our political power popularity. So we're at 42% at the moment in terms of. Did I already read Action Française thing? I think I did. So yeah, we still have some of the centrists here. We got the social conservatives, market liberals, and social liberals, and a little bit of authoritarian Democrats still running around. But once we come over, where's the political? Would that be internal affairs? Yeah, ending Republican demagoguery. That'll mostly finally get rid of things. Yeah, so we could easily end up, we're not going to get to 100% party popularity, but we can get pretty freaking close when the time comes. But that's going to be it for today. Busy episode, but the Republic is dead, as it should be, and we are now the Kingdom of France. We can start girding ourselves for the reclamation. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. So I'm Concrete History Games, and I will see you all next time. Have a wonderful day.